Hey guys. Hey broads. And those who are not broads. So this is the Quiet Broad Abroad and my channel, because YouTube likes you to niche. So I am speaking to women over 50, over 60 and beyond who are interested in slow travel, and or relocation or living abroad, whether permanently or temporarily. Okay. So I'm glad to be here. And I'm going to share with you today. It's a follow-up to a video of mine that did really well for my brand new channel. And I talked about traveling for free using house sitting. And I was doing a lot of research for my videos as well to see what's out there, see what's recent, whatever. There are a lot of different videos. There aren't as many from solo women, and there aren't as many from people maybe over 50. And like I said, who are solo, whether male or female. Okay. So this is a real thing. This is a real thing. This isn't a scam, and I'm not an AI bot. Okay. Don't get me started on AI. I was enamored for like a second with it, but I'm over. The love affair is over. Um, so you're in the right place if you want to know about house sitting. And I really just urge you, and my channel is for those who can keep an open mind. All right. Because I know some people are like, oh, it's a scam, and oh, you're not being paid, but yet you're working. Watch my other video where I break down exactly what is house sitting and why it's a benefit. I don't want to repeat everything there. Hey, if you're just joining, I don't want to repeat everything that I said in that video, okay? But basically, house sitting is, and especially the way it's being done now, you're taking care of a home by itself, plants. Typically, there's a pet, there's a dog, a cat, or a couple of dogs, and the owners are away, and you stay in their home. You basically get free housing. Okay. So some people who don't have, can't see possibilities, don't get, like, they don't get that. But if you have traveled, you know that housing is the hugest cost. And so this is a great way. I'm presenting it to you for those open-minded midlife goddesses, okay, to understand that if you've got your housing paid for, that opens a lot of possibilities. And you're taking care of typically a lovely animal. Okay. I will also make more videos about the challenges, but what we're going to talk about today is, okay, and I'm going to breathe. I am a yoga and meditation teacher after all. I haven't said that yet on the channel, but I am. And I see if you are here live, say hi in the chat. I'm going to give you 4 qualities that you really need if you want to be a success at house sitting. Whether, again, my audience is going to typically be Americans, US Americans, as somebody else says, which there's a reason to say that, US Americans, maybe Canadians or Brits. Okay. Again, over 50. There aren't a lot of people talking about it, especially that do it solo. You definitely can do it with a partner as well. That's actually usually considered really good. But I want to talk to women who haven't heard of this and just really want more info. You have to be flexible. You have to be flexible or it's not going to work. Why do I say that? And I've got my notes over here off to the side. You have to be flexible because with house sitting, you're going into a new home or an apartment. It could be a small apartment or it could be a really beautiful home, right? Again, you have that choice. Nobody forces you to do it. So you have a choice when you're doing your search, which I'm going to dive into also in a video that I need more time to make because I'm going to walk you through step by step how to get your first house sitting gig. But you need to be flexible. You can't be like, oh, it has to be oceanfront. Oh, I have to house sit in a penthouse. So you have to have some flexibility. Okay. Your likes and dislikes you need to not be rigid if it's going to work well for you. Because, yeah, it might be. And I'm going to be honest with you, I have not seen a lot of small apartments. One house sit that I've done was a normal size 1 bedroom. And that was like the worst ever, was that 1 bedroom, meaning, it wasn't, and So what I'm saying is the vast majority are in homes because think about it. This I need to explain this in this video. The people who get house sitters typically are middle and upper middle class Brits, Americans, Canadians, definitely also other countries in Europe, France, the Netherlands. Okay. So you're usually going to a nice home, but you have to have some flexibility about that because you are going to be also changing a lot. So, if, as I'm talking about here, you want to slow travel for months using house sitting, right, which you absolutely can do. You absolutely can do. And you literally then do not have to think about, 125 a night, 150 a night for a hotel. You can slow travel, but you're going to change places. So you may go from being in London, for example, in a little sort of maybe like a townhome, and I'm just making this up because I have not actually house sat in London. But you'll go from one type of place to another, so you need to be flexible. So you have to know yourself. Am I a flexible person in that way? Okay. You may be on like a farm in one case, kind of rural, or you may be like in a small city in another case. But again, you have that choice. So flexibility is the first trait if you want to be successful at house sitting or pet sitting. Those are interchangeable. House sitting or pet sitting, it's the same thing. Okay. I'm going to save the one that's probably the most difficult trait for last. The next thing that I think makes it easy to house sit is if you are a bit of an introvert. Um, because you do spend a lot of time alone. Again, what you're doing is you're taking care of a pet. You're there for that pet. Again, it could be a cat, right? Yeah, you're going to snuggle up with the animal. You might take them for a walk if it's a dog, dog or two. But a lot of the time you will be alone because, again, you're typically, unless you're doing it in your own town, which, some people do, but again, that's not the aim of what we're talking about here. Maybe you want to travel around the United States, right? And in my first video, I think I did show the places where there are the most house sits, right? They're usually in very nice areas, as the Brits would say, very posh areas, or metropolitan areas like city areas, or if they're suburban, they're typically in nice suburban areas. But you have to be an introvert because you are going to spend a lot of time alone. You're going into a new town, and the people, the homeowners are typically away. Now, I don't want to give everything away from all the other videos or anything, but I think I didn't mention this before. Always, when you're house sitting, they will always leave you a circle of friends. So what do I mean by that? They'll leave you the contact of a neighbor, the person across the street, their daughter-in-law who lives, a half mile away. So you'll always, like almost always, and I'm trying to think, I would say always, you'll have at least two contacts of people who are typically right in the area. But, they're not going to like hang out with you every day. So being an introvert, being self-reliant, having something you do, whether that's reading or knitting, or maybe you do a little bit of work online, maybe you're semi-retired, maybe like many house sitters, actually, I just found out, I'm hearing about someone else who does it. Um, who's into like mindfulness and meditation and yoga, because a lot of that builds the ability to kind of be with yourself and, deal with your emotions. So many people who are into like those kind of practices are able to house sit, just saying. But if you're comfortable as an introvert, you'll be fine. You also, on the other hand, this is weird, you need to be friendly. Okay. So I know, and most people know this, you can be an introvert and of course you can be a friendly, nice person. So I'm not saying you have to be super bubbly, but you're going to meet new people. Typically, you meet the homeowner or apartment owner like the day they're leaving. So you need to be friendly. You need to be like, hey, and you need to be excited, and you need to like see the pet and call the pet by name, and you need to be warm for that time. Most introverts can do that, right? So set as an introvert, you're not going to have a 5-hour conversation. Now, sometimes they like you to come the day before because they really want to show you how everything works. Like, this is how this works. This is how the heater works. This is how the fireplace works. This is that. So sometimes you will want to, and you may want to go the day before, okay? So that ability to just talk to strangers, talk to, these are new people. But I give a tip in my masterclass, which is available. It is for sale at a very reasonable cost below. I'll put it below the video. I do recommend you always do a video chat first. So these are people you've met. You're not going in totally cold. I do not recommend that. Okay. If you listen to me, follow good advice. So you've spoken to these people before. It's often a couple. You've spoken to them, you've seen the pet over Zoom, you have a sense, you ask them questions. So, but you have to have that ability to at least just be friendly with new people and be comfortable with that. Again, you may be in the Netherlands, so maybe they're different. You're from Colombia or you're from Mexico, and just open interculturally, which if you're watching this channel, you probably are, right? And the final thing, unless I can think of a bonus, but the fourth trait that you need, again, if you want to be successful, doing house sitting and traveling for free, and you're just covering airplane costs, which you'd have to cover anyway, and you're covering your food, which you'd have to cover anyway. And actually, that leads me to a bonus. Let me write the bonus about food down. Okay. You have to be willing to work through fear, especially if you've never done international house sitting, or even say you're from New York and you see a beautiful house sit out in California, or you're from Dallas and you see a house sit out in California and you really want to try it. You've wanted to check out this area of California. It's a beautiful area. There's going to be some fear, okay? Um, so you have to be a person who can deal with your fears, keep your mind from like running, crazy in all sorts of disaster scenarios. Okay. Does that make sense? Um, because that can definitely be a new thing. Like I'm saying, you're going to a new place, um, a new home. So you're going to have to figure out the transportation. You're going to figure out the shops in the area, how to get to the shops. So there's a certain freshness to it. You have to be a little bit adventurous. But again, for people over 50, as I'm saying, ladies, we can do it. Okay. If you've gotten to the age of 50, most likely, most likely you have had one, if not two or three different professions, jobs. If you're over 60, you've definitely worked through a lot, you've seen a lot, you have, even if it's just local or regional, you have experience. So I just don't want us to underestimate ourselves, okay? You can do it. Be willing to work through fears. I know there's a lot of random fears. I'm not going to address all of them here. I know one big one is, well, what if there are cameras in the space? That's a real fear. I understand it. Um, but there can be cameras anywhere. Um, I don't, you can watch videos about how you can detect cameras, for example. You can try that and do that. There are camera detectors. There's things about shining lights in places. I have never knowingly had that happen to me, and I've not heard from others of that happening. That doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So again, you have to be someone who's able to work with your fears. All right. So the 4R, you have to be flexible in your likes, your dislikes, willing to try new things. Maybe like for me, I've never lived in a high rise, like on the 45th floor, because I don't particularly like it. But maybe you see a great house sit in Japan and you want to check out Japan and it's on the 35th floor, maybe you're like, okay, I'm willing to try that. Do you see what I mean? There's gonna be different things where you'll have to have some flexibility. Um, Being introverted is helpful, yet friendly, especially with new people, and being willing to work through fear. The bonus thing just about food, um, is that very often, and I think this is so cool, again, the people who work with house sitters, you guys, especially if they've done it a lot, they really have a confidence in the system and that it works. Okay. They've had good experience with previous house sitters, movies notwithstanding. Okay. And so they often leave, not always, but they'll often specifically for you, leave a fridge with food. Now, I'm not saying some people will stock it, but they'll definitely be like, you know what? If especially, and I encourage looking for house sits of 2 weeks or longer, a month or longer, so you really get to experience a place, right? And you can slow travel, you can relax a little bit. And so they will often, because they know they're going to be gone for that time, they might leave you wine, they might leave you beer, they might say, eat all our frozen stuff. By the time we come back, just whatever, you open it up and there's food for you. So that's also just a nice little thing that many house sitting hosts do. Another thing that many of them will do, not all, but many will take you out for dinner because think about it. You're going to be staying in their home. You're going to be taking care of their pets who they adore, their plans. They're really trusting you. And so they often want to take you out to dinner. And I think it's just part like to bond with you, to get a further sense of you, just to feel more comfortable, right? And so that's really, really nice. They will often take you out to a local place and you'll have a nice supper. And so that's where that friendliness comes in. So please let me know if this helped. Remember, I have a masterclass below that is for sale. Thanks for your support. Um, and it tells how to, it's unique in that I talk about really diving into how to find good, low cost Airbnbs that are nice, combining that with house sitting so that you can travel for 3 months, 6 months, or even longer at really low cost. Because again, this is how to find low cost Airbnbs. And this is also the house sitting where you're not paying rent. So again, I'll give this quick example. If you house sit for a month and you didn't have to pay housing for that month, the next month in an Airbnb, maybe you can pay $1,200 and it's not a problem, or $1,500, because literally you had a month free. So that second month, you can see it's like if you average that cost, maybe you paid $750 a month, all inclusive for your heat, your electric, all of that, right? When you look at the way the cost would split. Um, so if you have any questions, guys, I see someone just joining in live now. If you have a question, please put it in the chat. I would love to take your question if you are. And so I'll just give another minute or two. But yeah, if you have any questions, and please do watch my previous video, which I think I titled, how to travel free abroad. And again, there's house sitting in the United States. There's a lot in the Northeast. There's a lot in sort of the vacation regions towards Florida and the South. There's a lot in California, and there's also a lot like kind of in the Northeast. And there's a lot in Europe, so you can use it. If you're a US American, you can use it within the United States or in Europe. And I will put my link to Trusted House Sitters, which is the site I use. And they do not give us money, so it's not like we're promoting something for money. They actually give us extra months on the platform. So obviously we wouldn't want extra months if we didn't actually use it and want to keep our subscription going. So thank you for using my link to Trusted House Sitters if you join, and you also get 25% off. Okay. I'm going to keep the video under 20 minutes. It looks like I've succeeded. So if you are flexible, you're an introvert, or you can find things to do alone, or you have enough, go to a bookstore, go to a cafe, chat with people, and you come home, you're good, then you can definitely do house sitting. You're friendly, you're able to talk to people of different backgrounds and just laugh with them, chat with them. You're friendly, and you're willing to work through any fear. And I think most of us, again, if you're over 50 or over 60, you've been through a lot. You have that maturity. And I also want to end with this note. You are desirable for house sitting, because who do you think somebody'd rather leave their, beloved like German Shepherd that's like 12 years old with somebody who's 20 or with somebody who's 50, right? Who do you think they might trust more that, okay, they know how to handle an emergency? Okay. So the next video I definitely will have coming up, I'm putting it together and editing it. I will have a step-by-step walkthrough for you of how to get your first house sitting gig so that you can travel for free with no worry about housing, just paying your living and basically take an extended vacation. All right, much love, and I will talk to you soon. Bye bye.